turn $250 into $10,000 monthly income. Instead of saving up for years and risking your own hard-earned money, just pay a small fee to get access to trading instruments with notional value of over $7 million. The only thing you have to do is stick to our rules. Sounds too good to be true? This is what prop firms offer. In this video, I'll compare self-funding your futures trading journey with using a prop firm for funding instead. Both options have their pros and cons, so watch till the end to find out which one is right for you. At WealthAcademy, I focus on quick, data-driven methods to improve your trading. Now, let's get started. This is Alice. She's been saving up for a while and amassed $20,000 now. She also practiced in paper trading extensively and is now ready to make the step towards trading real capital. This is Bob. He also has been practicing and succeeding in paper trading for a while now and wants to start making real money with his skills. Unlike Alice, Bob does not want to put a large amount of his own money on the line though. He's heard about prop firms offering access to capital and leverage for a subscription fee, so he decides to give those a go. He pays a fee of $250 and is ready. First, Alice needs to get her setup ready to trade. She's purchasing a subscription for a trading platform for about $70 and a data feed for the CME group with level 2 data for about $40, adding up to about $110. Data access and trading platform were already included in Bob's subscription fee, so he doesn't need to spend any extra on that, but is restricted to those that his prop firm offers. Since he's got no strong preferences yet though, he's fine with that. Now, Alice has data and a trading platform, but she still needs a broker. She compares fees, commissions, margin requirements, and lots of other features before she makes her decision. In the end, she picks a competitive futures trading broker with an intraday margin of only $1,000 per NQ contract. That means with her $20,000, she could in theory trade up to 20 NQ contracts at a time during the New York session. If she wants to hold positions outside of the New York session, span margin applies, which means she needs to hold the full overnight capital requirement, which is over $10,000 worth of assets per NQ futures contract, sometimes even up to $30,000 and more, depending on how volatile the market is. She wants to trade during the New York session anyway though, so that's not a huge concern to her. Bob, on the other hand, does not need a broker. The prop firm offers him payouts when he trades well in their simulated paper accounts. That means he's not actually trading real instruments, but only simulated money still. Nevertheless though, when he turns a profit, he can get real money as a payout. Since he's decided for what was advertised as a $150,000 account, he is allowed to trade up to 15 NQ contracts at a time. He is not, however, limited to the New York session, but he can use the full 15 contracts at any point of the futures trading session, with a couple small exceptions such as during big news releases. Alice is all set and makes her first trade. A win! She traded with one NQ contract and secured 10 points, which works out to roughly $200 after fees and commissions. To celebrate her first gains, she withdraws the money into her bank account and goes out for a nice dinner with her partner. She knows leaving it in the account would be smarter, but this is a memorable moment to her that she wants to celebrate. Bob's first trade also was a winner. Since he's not too concerned over losing money as he's only paid the subscription, he went in with 5 NQ contracts, also securing a 10-point gain that yielded him a whopping $1,000. Unlike Alice though, he cannot withdraw them. He is still in the prop firm's qualification phase. That means he needs to make $9,000 while not losing more than $4,500 from his end-of-day peak capital. So what was advertised as a $150,000 account is in practice only leaving him $4,500 max drawdown at a time before he's out. If you watched this far, that probably means I could provide some value for you. If so, feel free to subscribe and give the video a like so others have it easier finding it as well. The next day, Alice is a bit exhausted from the evening before. She had a couple glasses of wine and hasn't slept all that well. She wants to continue her journey of success though, so she decides to trade anyway. However, she's a bit concerned. What if she can't live up to the results of the day before? Going in with that mentality didn't do her well. She started out with a loss of $200 and tried to make it back, ending up losing $500 before she decided to quit for the day. Since it's $500 real dollars that she lost, she feels beaten down. Real dollars weigh heavier than paper money in wins and in losses. But she is determined and knows what she is capable of. She will make it back and more. When her friends ask her how her second day went, she just says, "It was okay." Bob read up again on the conditions of the prop firm. Checking what happens when he'd reached the max drawdown, Bob notices that for a fee of $100, he can reset the test account and start over if he reaches his trading drawdown. With that information, he decides to take it slower in the next trades and only uses 2 NQ contracts instead of 5 to better manage his risk. The awareness of the drawdown limit stresses him a bit though. On his second day, he also realizes a loss. Down $300, he's only got $4,200 left before he's out. He feels he needs to make it back. So he breaks his own rule and trades with 5 NQ again. Trading out of fear though, he loses another $700, putting him at minus $1,000 on the day. Only $3,500 left. On her third day, Alice knows there is a news release 1 hour before market open. She often traded those with varying success in her paper account and wants to try again with a small position in her real account. Since the news release is outside of the New York session, she would need the overnight margin to hold the position, which prompts her to use MNQ instead of NQ at 1/10 of the size. She's bearish on the news release and goes short just before, and the price actually goes down. However, right when the news came out, the price spiked up for a brief moment, triggering her stop loss. Lesson learned, she will stay away from those in her real account in the foreseeable future. Luckily, she only lost a little bit of money on this play by limiting her risk. As for Bob, he's also interested in trading the news event. Feeling lucky and determined to make back what he lost on the day prior, he's trading the news event with 10 NQ contracts. He's also bearish and doesn't set a stop loss, against everything he learned in his paper trading journey. He just needs to make this money today. And it works. The price falls on the release of the news, and since he didn't set a stop loss, the upward spike didn't stop him out. From that 20-point move, he made $4,000 in profit. Jackpot, he thinks. When he wants to brag and show his prop account overview to his friends at the bar in the evening, he can't believe what he sees. It says he failed the qualification. In disbelief, he researches, and indeed, news trading is prohibited. By merely having a position open during the time of news release, the firm counts his qualification as failed. Annoyed at his own failure of not reading the rules properly, he reset the account for a $100 fee and starts over. A couple weeks have passed since Alice started her trading journey in her brokerage account now. She decided to apply strict risk management rules, is having a trading journal, and frequently talks about the feelings trading exposes her to with other traders that can relate. She's only trading on days where she really feels good about it instead of forcing herself, and her results show that. Alice is making consistent profits now, her account showing $25,000 for the first time. Withdrawing some of it to cover costs and leaving the rest in there to size up her volume at some point, she is now confident that she is on a good path to becoming a full-time day trader. Bob also made some progress in his trading journey. Although he needed a couple more resets of his qualification account, he eventually made it, turning $9,000 of profits without hitting the $4,500 drawdown or violating any of the rules. He then got a funded account, also with a drawdown of $4,500, but not trailing this time. So every dollar he made contributed to expanding his safety net. After the first $3,000 of profit in the funded account, he was allowed to withdraw profits beyond that into his bank account. Standing at $4,000 in profits, he's made a withdrawal request over $1,000, which the prop firm is now reviewing. Due to the profit split, he will get 80% of the profits. He's hoping for the money to arrive in his bank account any day now. Maybe when he has large enough savings, he will fund his own brokerage account to keep the full 100% of what he makes. As you can see in the stories of Alice and Bob, there is lots of things to consider and look out for when picking self-funding versus a prop firm. Psychological pressure, awareness of rules and capital requirements are just some of them. A great hybrid approach can be to first start out with a prop firm before self-funding in order to see if your strategy holds up when real profits are on the line. Then, when you're consistently making money and your trading pays, opening a fully self-funded brokerage account can make sense. For simplicity, all examples were made without considering tax implications, which can be a determining factor depending on your strategy and where you live. Consulting a tax professional can be helpful to learn about the handling of day trading income in self-funded accounts versus a prop firm in your jurisdiction. I'm making videos on how to become a successful day trader using data-driven and proven methods, so if that interests you, consider subscribing for more. Thank you for your attention and see you next time. Bye.